There's a book called What I Talk About When I Talk About Running by Haruki Murakami, and it is an account of Murakami's life as a novelist and a runner. This guy has written, I don't know how many books, but it's at least a dozen, and he is a marathon runner. He runs, 40 plus miles a week throughout his life. And he's old now. I don't know exactly how old. It's been a while since I read the book. But one part of the book that I want to touch on today was, what do you think about when you are running? Right. And he answered it in a way that was similar to a lot of runners, that sometimes nothing, sometimes stuff. And I wanted to respond to, I know that's not very specific, but that's runners for you. Sometimes we're thinking about nothing, and sometimes we're thinking about stuff. Sometimes we're listening to music, and sometimes we're not. I don't generally listen to music, and since I started this channel, I've been primarily filming on the run, though you all don't see a lot of what happens on the run because I'm running for the majority of it. And I zone out half the time. Like, once I'm not filming, or if I don't have any thoughts to share with you all about the shoes that I'm running in or whatever the topic of the day's run is, I am in the zone. Perhaps that zone is a meditative state in which nothing occurs in my blank little brain. Sometimes I might be fuming about a work situation or about life in general, the political state of affairs, the temperature, the whatever it might be. Something might be on my mind. So let's break it down into something of a list format. What do I think about while I'm running? Probably the number one most common thing is actually nothing for me. Exercise is a form of meditation, and I experience running most keenly in that meditative state where, sure, lifting is great. It's a highly focused, mostly explosive, high strength, high aggression activity. I have a special spot in my heart for lifting. It doesn't exactly zone me in the way that running does. The thing that I can equate most to the mind state that I'm able to achieve while running, and while running well, successfully in a good run, is actually being in a sauna or a hot tub or an extreme temperature environment. Why? Why are they similar? Well, I experience being in a sauna, for example, the extreme heat of it, as such a physically oppressive situation, right, that forces me to be present in my body, because the discomfort, the intensity, the power behind the heat is all encompassing. It's just there, and I cannot control that, right? All I could do is experience it. Well, running is so much the same story. I'm running, it's hard, my heart's beating, the steps are just pounding away, and I feel it. I feel that all in my physical body. And so my mind, which is typically racing a million miles a minute, thinking about this, thinking about that, is sort of forced to be present in the body, to pay attention to what physically is occurring to me, to my body, what I'm, forcing to occur myself. And that creates, an awareness, a self-awareness that is really, for me, hard to attain elsewhere in life. That's the number one most common state for me to be in while running. The next most common is probably thinking about work issues. Like, I work relatively a lot. I have a very cerebral, thought-provoking day job slash career. And while I enjoy it, sometimes there are interpersonal challenges that I need time to reflect upon to navigate correctly. Sometimes there are literal work issues, like with software that I need to think about in order to return to my computer and be able to, oh, that's the logic of it. Let me go and boop, boop, boop. I understand it now. Sometimes it's really about putting that in my mind and like toying with it without being in front of the screen. Oftentimes, like if you're getting frustrated with something in life, what would your parents say, or what would somebody you admire say if you were saying, I'm really struggling with this right now? What do you think I should do? Well, a lot of the times in those situations for myself, for me, I receive advice, step away from it. Step away from it for a little bit. That will help you reframe the problem. Change of scenery is always good. Getting into a different room is always good. It allows you to disassemble the parameters that you thought you were working with initially, and then come back to it with a fresh framework. Running does that exceedingly well. 3, the third most common thing that I think about while I'm running is interpersonal relationships, whether that's with my sibling, with my parents, with even my dogs, right? That's sort of interpersonal. And with the world around me, maybe it's like, oh, how can I connect better with other runners in my area? How could I connect better generally as a person? So that I'll kick that around in my head sometimes. And less often, I will listen to music, but that's the least often, actually. The next most frequent thing that I do, number 4, sometimes I listen to podcasts to learn a new topic, or even more likely to reaffirm some of the decisions that I'm making in my life to pursue, right, bringing content to the world, to you all, to affirm the working hard direction, the hardworking direction that I'm taking in life currently. It's not something that I've always been keen on myself, and so this is new to me. I need, inspiration to keep the train rolling, so it were. And some honorable mentions. I think we all do this, but thinking about time and pace and average time and doing calculations and how far we have left, or maybe, I don't know, one that may be specific to me, but I feel like we all must do this, is, well, if I take that little loop that goes around that little cul-de-sac, and that would add 0.1, but then I would need to get another 0.2 here to get around 8. Right. So doing ridiculous like calculus gymnastics to try to get distance correct or time correct. Those are some of the like minor things that I think about. Or like I'll see, I was on the way back from my run. It was the end of my long run, and I wasn't quick enough on the camera for this, but I saw a bunch of ducks with their heads in the water and their butts up, and they were just flapping their butts in the air. Well, obviously they were fishing for something, but I think I've only ever seen that in a movie or like documentary before. I don't think that I've seen ducks doing that in real life. Maybe they were goose too. I don't actually know what they were because their butts were in there. It was hilarious. And I wish I had gotten that on camera, but I spent like another couple of minutes thinking about what I saw in my environment. So those are some of the things that I think about while I'm running. If you haven't read anything by Haruki Murakami, I have read 2 of his books, Wild Sheep Chase and Kafka on the Shore. Both were really good. Kafka's pretty long. So Wild Sheep Chase might be more accessible of the 2, but he has a very, as you might expect from a runner, very methodical, like procedural, progressive style that is rhythmic in the way that it's composed and written. And so, and it's very accessible to anybody, no matter the length of the book, if you're into reading. Cool. Thank you for your attention, and stay in motion.